Why detaching from a narcissist feels like losing yourself, and how to take your power back. You don't miss them because they were good to you. You miss them because your nervous system learned to survive chaos, and now silence feels unbearable. You don't crave their love. You crave the relief that came when they stopped hurting you, even if it was only for a moment. And the truth most people won't say out loud is this: what you're feeling right now isn't love, it's withdrawal. You stayed longer than you should have, not because you were weak, but because your body was trained to associate pain with connection. And when that connection disappeared, it felt like something inside you was ripped away. You tried everything. You loved harder. You explained yourself in softer tones. You chose your words carefully, afraid that saying the wrong thing would trigger distance, anger, or silence. You forgave things you once said you would never tolerate. You swallowed your feelings just to keep the peace. You learned to be quiet about your pain so you wouldn't be called too sensitive or dramatic. And somehow, even after all that effort, it was never enough. Some days they were affectionate, present, attentive. Other days they became cold, distant, unreachable. You could feel them slipping away, and that feeling terrified you. Not because you couldn't live without them, but because your sense of safety was attached to their approval. Slowly, something inside you began to change. You stopped trusting your memory. You replayed conversations in your head, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You questioned your reactions, your emotions, your worth. You asked yourself questions like, did I overreact? Was it really that bad? Maybe I should have handled it differently. And even now, after the pain, after the disappointment, after the exhaustion, a part of you still hopes they'll realize that they'll come back different, kinder, more loving. That hope is what's hurting you the most, because you're not missing who they were, you're missing who you thought they could be. At the beginning, they saw you, or at least it felt that way. They mirrored your depth back to you, your kindness, your dreams, your softness. They made you feel chosen, special, understood. And then, almost without warning, the shift happened. Compliments turned into criticism disguised as jokes. Affection turned into control. Love turned into something you had to earn. You learned to read their moods like weather. You sensed tension before it was spoken. You adjusted yourself to avoid conflict. You stopped being yourself. You became a version of yourself that survived them. You apologized even when you were hurt. You explained your feelings carefully, afraid they'd shut down or lash out. You accepted breadcrumbs and called it love, because at least it meant they hadn't abandoned you completely. And the most painful part wasn't even what they did, it was how your body reacted to them. When they pulled away, your chest tightened, your thoughts raced. You felt desperate, not because you needed them, but because you needed the pain to stop. So you reached out, you chased clarity, you accepted blame just to feel close again. And when they finally softened, even briefly, it felt like relief, like oxygen, like peace. That wasn't love. That was conditioning. You didn't fall in love with a narcissist. You were trauma bonded. Trauma bonding happens when the same person who hurts you is also the one who soothes you. Your brain learns a dangerous pattern: pain followed by hope, followed by relief. That cycle is addictive. The highs felt intense because the lows were unbearable. You never knew when you'd receive affection again, so you stayed, tried harder, lost yourself deeper. That's why detaching feels like losing your mind. Your body isn't missing them, it's missing the cycle. That's why peace feels empty. That's why silence feels loud. That's why no contact feels cruel, even when staying was destroying you. And here's another truth that's hard to accept. They don't miss you the way you miss them. They miss access. They miss control. They miss someone who bent themselves into pieces to keep them comfortable. The love you're grieving didn't come from them. It came from you. Detachment isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about becoming clear. It begins when you stop asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" and start asking, "Why did I accept so little?" Detachment is choosing not to explain yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. It's realizing that closure doesn't come from their apology. It comes from your acceptance. You don't need revenge. You don't need them to regret losing you. You don't need them to understand your pain. Your silence is not weakness. It's the withdrawal of access. And yes, it will hurt. Some days you'll feel strong. Some nights you'll miss them deeply. You'll feel lonely. You'll feel empty. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means your nervous system is learning safety again. That emptiness you feel isn't loss. It's space. Space to breathe without walking on eggshells. Space to remember who you were before you started shrinking. Space to love without fear. Healing doesn't happen all at once, but one day, quietly, without announcement, you'll notice something has changed. You didn't think about them all morning. Your chest doesn't tighten when their name comes up. Your peace no longer feels boring. It feels precious. You won't want them back, not because you stopped loving, but because you finally chose yourself, and that's when real healing begins. You were never broken. You were conditioned, and now you're waking up.